Welcome to the Victors Nation podcast, reminding you that we are national champions and something that really doesn't need a reminder, but I'll say it anyways, I guess, is that the Suckeyes still can't develop. Still continuing today. With me is Derek. What's up, my dude? How you doing?
How's it going, Victors Nation? How's it going, everyone? It's been a while. It's been a few weeks since we've been able to get together and do a podcast, but that's what the off season's for.
That's what younger kids too will do that to you as well.
Right, that's the primary
Not
reason.
a lot of time.
Also than the off season.
Yeah, for sure.
Derek,
did you check out WrestleMania this weekend?
I didn't watch WrestleMania, but I did see the sign that was on WrestleMania.
Yeah. So that was awesome. So some guy at WrestleMania brings a sign this past weekend. Some dude was holding it up saying 1,589 days since OSU has beat Michigan, and then national champs at the bottom. Please tell me he's not even a wrestling fan and he just wanted to have that picture like front and center. Because that's awesome. Good for him.
I love it.
It's amazing.
I love it. We had a lot of years of being on the other side of this rivalry, so so we gotta celebrate it while we're dominating. And with Ryan Day, I think we're gonna keep dominating.
Yeah. Hopefully they extend him.
Well, if we beat him again, I would imagine that he gets fired if we beat him again this year.
Oh, he will, but man, hopefully they're just dumb and just sign him. Be great.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But we'll get into some football updates here in just a little bit. It's been a couple of weeks since we've come on and talked about Michigan sports, and a lot's been going on in that couple of weeks. So want to spend a little time talking about some updates with Michigan basketball, maybe what to expect, hopefully coming through the transfer portal. Talk Michigan hockey, who I think we're surprised that Michigan hockey's in the Frozen Four. I think that based off of the teams that they had the last couple of years to this year, I don't know that was the expectation.
This is where they were going to make the tournament.
Right.
That was getting real close too.
Yeah.
But good run in the conference tournament. So go ahead.
Yeah. And then we'll get into some spring football stuff too to talk about some updates that we're hearing and things that we're looking forward to with spring football. But let's start out with basketball. So it's been a few weeks. So Juwan Howard officially let go from the program. A lot of players left too. A lot of players hit the transfer portal. I think we all kind of expected that to take place. But then the Dusty May hiring, bringing in, I don't know. I feel like the fan base was kind of split on him. I feel like there was a lot of the fan base that was pretty high on Dusty May, and a lot of the fan base that maybe wasn't completely sold on him, or maybe not impressed that they brought back so much this year to March Madness, but didn't achieve the similar results as to what they did last year. But to me, the fact that John Beilein was involved in hiring Dusty May and recommending Dusty May, that goes a long way.
Still might be involved after as well too.
Right.
Because he's still open to it. I don't know. We'll see.
I would love to see John Beilein as some sort of analyst or something for Michigan basketball. But we just got done watching March Madness, right? And if you watched any of the games in March Madness, for the most part, you saw something that you did not see all season in Michigan basketball. You saw movement on offense, rebounding, people playing defense, right? And those things weren't happening. Michigan's if you watch Connecticut, their off the ball movement and their motion on offense was incredible. They did not have guys just standing around waiting to try and take an open three. Their play designs from inbounding the ball were amazing. They always got good looks, right? And those are things that we didn't see. And the hustle on the defensive side of the ball and the hustle to go and get boards. It was completely different level than anything that you would have seen watching a Michigan basketball game. So it was certainly time for a change. And I think Dusty May is going to bring back some of that culture that John Beilein has built. Defense, hustle,
Hopefully,
player development.
I think to be fair too, Juwan Howard, I mean, no hard feelings. I mean, obviously for him too, I know he's upset that I know he's kind of down a little bit on that he, departed a little bit early, but no hard feelings for him towards Michigan. Always going to be a Michigan man. Always be remembered for the Fab Five and what they've done as well too, and what he's done specifically. But we should have had Caleb Love last year. We should have had Shannon Jr. Shannon Jr. I know he's got his problems of his own right now, but this team might have been different, but I'm not so sure. Just looking at like the rotations that were in play, that he had coming on and off the bench, the starting group. He almost brought that NBA mindset with him, which typically didn't work.
Right.
But might have looked a little bit different, with those certain players. But I'm honest opinion, probably not. To tell you the truth.
So. Right, and I mean, yeah. So if you think about it, there's an alternate universe where Michigan might have been playing with Terrence Shannon, and Caleb Love and Hunter Dickinson all on this team.
Yeah.
But so one of the things though is I think Dusty May had a quote saying this just recently, and it is a John Beilein quote. There's not a big difference between somebody that's a top 30 recruit to somebody that's a top 300 recruit. But you want the guys that want to be there, that want to develop, that want to learn, that want to be part of a team, that want to buy into a culture. And that's something that I think it might be harder and harder to find with the era that we're in right now in the transfer portal, of finding recruits that are good players and want to be developed and don't just want to be given a starting job or else they transfer. But that was something that Beilein did really well, is he brought in guys that bought into the culture, that bought into the development, and let him turn them into good players. And, they had very much a selfless team. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts type attitude.
Yeah.
And so if Dusty May can help bring that type of a culture back, that's what we've seen built on the Michigan football side of things, is that player-driven, team-driven, we all win or none of us win type culture. And that's what I think is needed, is that type of a culture from the top down. And I think that it might be a rough start. The cupboard's pretty empty. There are some potential transfer portal additions that may be coming, that I think will be a good foundation to build off of. But I'm excited for what we've got coming right now with Dusty May and the coaching staff that he's bringing on.
Me too, and I think it's the buy-in and the culture he's built around him too. Like any one of those players after that Final Four push for FAU 2 seasons ago could have left and took the money. Could have left to the NIL and took the money, and they didn't, and he didn't either. So, disappointed losing to the first round of Northwestern. Obviously, I doubt they would have put up a show against UConn, just the basketball that they played this year again. But I think we're in good hands.
Yeah,
I think we're in good hands right now. I think we're fine.
Yeah, and he went after some assistant coaching hires too, right away. So getting Mike Boynton, the former Oklahoma State head coach, that's a solid assistant coach hire to bring.
Good recruiter, another good recruiter, and a very good defensive coach as well too. I'm actually really excited about that guy.
Right. And that's kind of the staff that he's building, is assistant coaches that can go out and recruit. Right. So when you can get assistant coaches that also have head coaching experience, that goes a long way, as long as it doesn't turn into a power hungry fest where the assistant coach wants to be head coach, as long as they're okay with the hierarchy. But I think that was a good one. And then we just saw, as of today, when we're recording this podcast, which is Wednesday the 10th, an update that Michigan is hiring Justin Joyner coming over from St. Mary's as another assistant coach. So another coach that that can go out and recruit.
Very elite recruiter, 2 conference tournament titles and 2 regular season championships with the Gales as well too. Also, Akeem Biskton, former assistant under me, FAU, I believe 2018 to 2021, is also joining that staff as an assistant coach. So there's some decent hires. He's wasting no time. I mean, it'd be cool to see John Beilein, be somewhat of an analyst for the basketball. I mean, I don't know. That's just me. There's rumors, but I think it's just because a lot of people want it. But I think that'd be tight.
Yeah.
Be really tight.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. Sue,
what's
hello.
up, Stu? And this must be Corey, I'm guessing.
And this is Corey. Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. But transfer portal additions on the way too. Right. So
yeah.
There were a couple players that could potentially be coming from FAU that I wouldn't be surprised to see hit the transfer portal and follow Dusty May over. And I just starting to see some crystal balls come in. So their big guy, Vlad Golden, 7'1", I believe.
7'1" center. Yep.
Has some crystal balls coming in. So
he's like 200, 240 too. So he's a big body.
Yeah, big guy. Maybe not as big as Zach Edey, but
better on defense.
Yeah.
That's true. Come on. It's better on defense, probably. So.
Yeah, but Zach Edey won't be around next year.
He won't. I mean, hope he proves me wrong, dude. I just don't see him doing well in the NBA. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But it can only go up. This was one of the worst years in Michigan basketball history, so it can only go up from here. So we're going to see. Expectations will be low to start. I think down the road, I think we're going to see some really good things coming from Dusty May. I think that give him a chance to build the program. Give him a little patience because right now he's starting bare minimum. I was excited to see Will Shedder is coming back though. That is
real jacked about
a key
that.
Player. if there was one guy on this roster that would come back that I wanted to come back, it was Will Shedder.
Him and then I'm kind of down about McDaniel because I think he proved a lot of fans wrong as well too. He's going to Kansas State. Reed Jr. I don't know where he's headed to, but George Washington. I mean, there's a chance he might come back yet too. Terrence Williams. I like the guy. He was clutching games when we need him, but honestly, I just don't think he's it for us. Met the guy, really cool, really nice. I just didn't really like his play all the time. But who else we got? Oh, the guy from Lebanon is going to Bowling Green. So
Yo-Yo.
Yeah. Joseph. So he's headed out to Bowling Green again. Doug McDaniel to Kansas State. Williams, Reed Jr., Washington. Lots of decommit, top 100, I believe on ESPN. Lost that player as well too. So I don't know. There's still a chance that maybe a couple of these guys, wasn't all bad, right? I thought Reed Jr. definitely. I know we had a crappy season, but definitely had improvement this year. I wouldn't be mad if he came back. Or, McDaniel's gone, but I wouldn't be mad if he came back. But it's not looking good. But if we can get those couple of those guys, what about the Yale guy? We get him. Danny Wolf, 7 feet forward. That team didn't have the best showing in the first round, but
hey, they got there, right? They were playing.
They did, and I wouldn't mind getting him either, along with Vlad, like you mentioned. But we might see. I don't think we're going to. I think we'll see 2 out of the 3, but we might see 3 FAU players.
Yeah, potentially.
eventually. So Davis, Golden, Martin, good guard play as well too. Kind of high on him, but yeah, we'll just see. What about the Indiana State guy? Do you want him or not?
Wait and
No,
see. You know, it's
Larry Blurred. He's got a lot of
well,
nicknames, but it'd be kind of cool.
I don't know. You know, I feel like my expectations are going to be low for what next year's basketball. Low, but excited to see what next year's basketball team is, because you never know in basketball, right? So it's easier to get a quick turnaround in basketball than it is in football, because in basketball you have 5 guys on the court and they play offense and defense. In football, you got 11 guys on the field on offense and 11 different guys on the field on defense, and then special teams, where you got a mix of both worlds, right? So if you can get a core of 2 or 3 guys that play well together and perform, and I'm not sold on the ability of the rest of the Big Ten. Like Purdue's going to come into a down year next year. I don't think there's any powerhouses in the Big Ten. They'll still be decent.
I think this Purdue will still be decent. Maryland has like 2 really good recruits, or I mean, they might be pretty good, but Rutgers. I watched the McDonald like All-Star game. I mean, they got 2 like really solid recruits coming into their program as well too. So we'll see. I think the Big Ten's always competitive in its own. Before Purdue, Michigan was the last team to make the national championship in basketball, and it's just like, man, Big Ten basketball is like seems to be always good. It seemed like it could be a little bit down this year. Obviously, I'm not speaking just as a Michigan fan, but we just can't win the ship. Just can't get there. So
this is our friend Corey again. Yeah, the turnaround probably will be pretty quick, because number one, it can't get any worse than what it was. But like I was saying, it's you get 2 or 3 guys that are a core group, you're a starting 5, and they're competitive with the Big Ten conference.
Yeah.
Well, we had that this year, right? But you get them coached up, you get them hustling, you get them rebounding, you get them playing defense. Effort's a big part of the equation, right? Just the effort of showing up and doing what you're capable of every game. And was that happening? It looked like it at the beginning of the season, and as the season went on,
or the first half at least, and then it went down because just no adjustments were made, or we just didn't have the drive. So
I
don't know. We'll see. But
so,
I like the hire. So
yeah, same. So stay tuned as we follow along with maybe some of the potential transfers coming into the basketball program. First thing on the agenda is probably to be able to put a team on the court. And after some of the guys left, that's what we need the transfer portal for. So transfer portal and recruiting, plug some of the gaps, start to build a foundation with the transfer portal, recruit for the future. That should be the approach if it's possible in modern college basketball to do things that way. But as much as college basketball was a disappointment this year for us Michigan fans, hockey, on the other hand, has us pretty excited. And not only does hockey have us excited, the way that we got to the Frozen Four by beating Michigan State. By beating Michigan State the way that we beat them and absolutely destroying them in the third period. So Frozen Four coming up as we're recording this tomorrow. And then hopefully a hockey national championship coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, so I didn't even know. I was real worried we weren't even going to make the tournament. But this team, we've had previous years. Let me go back a little bit. The last couple of seasons, we've had a lot of NHL talent, right? And we made the Frozen Four, and just like football, we lost in the first round. Right? So third time's a charm, just like football. We might not have like those big names we had the last 2 seasons, or those guys coming back like we had quite a bit. We had a lot. We were loaded. Those last few years, like the class was loaded with NHL talent, and we just couldn't get there. This team, the defense isn't great at times, but if that offense is firing at all cylinders, like in the third period, they put a full game together, and that defense can somehow put almost a full game together. We're sitting pretty good. We're sitting pretty good right now, and just to kind of go over some facts as well too. Just like I said, football third time's a charm. Last 3 years, made the final four in the college football playoff. Made the Frozen Four the last 3 years. The similarities, Derek, I know we talked about a little bit before we went live. The similarities between these three programs and the history previously of when they last won a championship and just the last 3 years of these programs. So conference champions, football, 2021, 2022, 2023. In the same seasons, hockey, 22, 23, made it to the conference championship. And I think culture with hockey also helped that as well too, but we took an L to Michigan State. Derek was kind of talking about as well too. We got a little bit of revenge on Michigan State, which I know they're our rival. I'm not a big fan of the school for obvious reasons, but I got to give it props to them. They're going to have a really good team next year as well too, with a lot of players coming back. Now, college football playoff and Frozen Four the last 3 years. So, like I said, football and hockey, we took L's in the first round of the Final Four, the last first and second times. And then football national champions, can't forget that. And then hockey to be determined. Last national championship for football and hockey. So 2023, we won the national championship that season. The last time, and I know it wasn't outright, but 1997, before that, prior to the 23 season, Michigan football won a national championship, split, 97 championship. Hockey was in that same season in 1998. So very similar the last 3 years, but very similar last championship as well too. Prior to 2023 with Michigan football. Also some kind of strange facts too. I know I've mentioned it on the pod before, but prior to beating Bama in the Rose Bowl, and our last Rose Bowl win was in early 1998 over Washington State. So Washington State Cougars, that is, for a national championship. We beat the Suckeyes 3 straight seasons, 95 to 97 in that duration. And the second time we've done that was 21-23 in the Rose Bowl win in the national championship. So in that duration, I mean the second time. So I don't know. History tends to repeat itself a little bit. So I'm hoping the correlation with hockey and football and that previous championship kind of helps. Also with hockey, our last national championship, like I said, was in 1998. We won 3-2 over Boston College. Guess who we played in the first round of the Frozen Four? Boston College. So, like I said, I posted about it. Keep your tinfoil hats on, people. Like, I definitely think the stars are kind of aligning right here. I'm hoping right now, but that's going to be really cool if we end up taking that ship in hockey, because there is some eerie similarities going on with the football and the hockey program. So, awesome stuff the last 3 years.
You know, and so it's exciting. It's a really good run, and this year is kind of unexpected because, like you were saying, the last 2 years we were stocked up with some pretty elite college hockey talent, right? We were stocked up with some pretty elite players that went pretty high in the NHL draft and are in the NHL right now.
Like so the first four a season ago too, which set a record out of the 5. So it's crazy.
And now this year we didn't necessarily have that same type of talent, but we had some people coming up that had been there before. And anyone that watched the game against Michigan State also probably saw like the sexiest hockey pass that you've ever seen from Frank Nazar through the legs.
Between the leg sponsor pass.
Yeah.
And then a one-timer, that was sick.
Yeah, that was
sick.
That's a highlight that you're gonna see on ads for the Frozen Four or for college hockey for years. We tend to make those highlights. We tend to make the highlights, even though
the Michigan goal too been around forever. But I mean that was just wow. It happened quick, but when I saw the replay, I could not close my. I mean, it was just insane. It was insane.
So this year we're coming in though. We're an underdog, so maybe that does change things up a little bit.
Yeah.
So the last couple of years, the pressure's kind of been on that we were the most talented team. We were the team that was supposed to win, and both years we lost to the team that
first round
was national championship or won the national championship. This year we might have the chance to pull off an upset, kind of like what has happened to us, and I think the expectation in the hockey world is probably that Boston College is the best team in college hockey this year, so they're gonna beat us. So I think that if we play scrappy, get some good goaltending, play scrappy, get some good defense in, and if we attack in the third period, if we can keep it close, if we can go into the third period with a chance to win the game, that's going to be a big spot. And in any sort of single elimination type tournament or type game, it doesn't matter. If we played Boston College 10 times and they would win 7 or 8 of them, that doesn't matter if this ends up being one of the 2 or 3 games that we might win.
Essentially in hockey too. So you got Boston U, you got Denver on the other side. They'll play at 5:00 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So they're the first Frozen Four game, and then we will drop the puck at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow on ESPN2 or ESPN Plus. So good points, Derek. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Third time's the charm. So we got this.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, let's transition. We'll probably next week be talking about hopefully a hockey national champion. Let's just add one more national championship in this same athletic season. Give us something else to talk about in the offseason, but besides the football national championship.
Absolutely, especially with all the stats we just talked about too, and just the history, the last 3 years between the football and the hockey program, and before 2023 with football winning it lasted 97 split, and then hockey winning at 98 that same season. So he said some eerie similarities, so we'll see what happens. Corey also wants us to say that we're sponsored by One Block Over, but I have not received a check yet. Either, so.
Yeah, so we're gonna transition into to football here, and we might touch on the draft a little bit. And so a reminder to our listeners that we are in Green Bay, Wisconsin. That's where we live, and that's where we podcast from. The draft next year is going to be in Green Bay. So Corey will give you even more of a plug for Burkles. If you want to come have a couple drinks with us for the draft next year, you'll probably be able to find us at Burkles 1 block over near Lambeau Field, potentially a block-ish over from everything else that's going on.
A little more than a block. Yeah, a little more than a block.
It is. So what our friends at Burkles 1 block over don't know is that this plug, every time we mention their name, is 1 free beer for each of us and a free pizza and a free order of wings.
I'm just gonna start whispering it. This 1 block over.
But let's transition into football. Let's talk a little bit about some updates that we're hearing for spring football. So spring game is coming up. Next Saturday, the 20th, is the Michigan spring game. So I believe I'm pretty sure
April 20th at noon on Fox. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm going to be kind of interested to hear how Sharon Moore handles updates compared to Jim Harbaugh, because when Jim Harbaugh was giving updates about what was going on in practice, he pretty much glorified everybody. He would go like position group by position group and just list off everybody's name and made it sound like everyone was doing a good job, which must have been true because we ended up winning a national championship. But it'll be interesting to see if Sharon Moore follows that that same suit. So we can hear some buzz about what's going on, and it's just spring ball. So we don't really know, but there are some things that we're definitely looking to try and get some updates on, specifically on the offensive side of the ball. We turned over a lot of talent that is going to be getting drafted a couple weeks from now. So that means that we have to replace an entire new offensive line, a quarterback, and our receivers, right? So Donovan Edwards and Colson Loveland are like the only locks. Yeah. So
except the running back room is loaded. I mean, we're loaded there yet. So
running back room is loaded. But Jason, I'll kind of start with you. What are some of the buzz that you're hearing that maybe you're a little excited about coming from spring practices right now?
Yeah. So first, praise to Rod Moore. Hope we're doing good, man. So that sucks for the upcoming season, but
yep, that one's a tough blow.
That one hurts. So coming out of spring ball, practices are still very much physical, like they should be. The Ohio drill is still present. The quest for Atlanta, so making the national championship, still present as well too. So I know when they asked the transfer from Northwestern, the offensive lineman, differences between Michigan and Northwestern practices. So I'll just keep it really, really high level here. Intensity is different, more physical, more hitting. I mean, they really haven't changed much at all. So I think when fans hear, there's going to be, an overhaul of coaching changes, player changes, things are going to be a lot different. Yes, but you don't fix what you don't want to change, right? So what's working, you don't need to fix it at all, essentially. So offense, defenses are really challenging each other in a good way, great way. There's a lot of competitive edge during a live game. So the real thing, what adjustments you can make. So that's kind of what I'm hearing out of spring camp right now, and what I'm seeing out there for spring practices. Yeah, Jim left, but we're not. So again, we're not going to take away the prep, the development, the culture out of this program. You don't change what works, right? You can only make it perfect, or you can only perfect it from that point or modify it. So yes, Moore is going to put in more of what he thinks is right, and he's going to make some changes, but we need to embrace that change. There's still a chip on our shoulders. There's still a national championship to defend. A certain team, down south, so more south than hell, can buy whatever players they want. But if you can't develop those stars and you're paying for those guys, you're in trouble. I don't care what talent you have to pay to get in. Good luck. You're in the corner now, and there's a lot of pressure on that team down south right now to beat Michigan next year and in Columbus, and I don't see it happening. I do not see it happening. We are still developing very good quality players, and that is still very much a part of our culture with these practices and what our focus is on to beat Ohio still, and also to repeat as national champions. And I think we're still going to have a very, very solid defense. Yes, there's some questions at the quarterback position for Michigan. Maybe the offensive line is as well too. But that culture is still there. And some of those players are still there yet to build that culture. And those players and those coaches that have left from last season, from the previous season, from the previous season before that, that energy is still present. So our rivals, I think, are going to be very surprised this season. And I can't wait to see their smiles leave their faces, because I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And I'm not saying that as a Michigan fan, and I know I say that a lot, but I definitely could see that happening for sure. It's still very much there, and I really don't think there's nothing we need to worry about. I think we just need to see it for ourselves, and it'll all come together. I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that you're touching on is the culture retention. I think that That's going to go a
Yeah.
long way. And Corey came on here again and asked what we think the offense is going to look like. And I would imagine that it's so the head coach is the guy that's been the offensive coordinator, Sharon Moore. And so he is an offensive line guy. I think that the foundation of our offense and the foundation of our team is still going to be to out physical whoever we play against, to control the clock, to not make mistakes, to not turn the ball over, and to take that boa constrictor approach against them. So, but I say that, and JJ McCarthy in an interview said that with Kirk Campbell becoming the offensive coordinator, he might open things up a little bit. But I think a lot of that's going to depend on the quarterback and if the quarterback play caters to that. And also keep in mind that one of our question marks going into next year, we know Colston Loveland's a stud, right? So we know that we have one of the best tight ends in the country going into next year. And Donovan Edwards, we know what we have at running back. But we're losing a couple of receivers in Roman Wilson and Cornelius Johnson, right? So Tyler Morris, it sounds like Tyler Morris is kind of that Roman Wilson wide receiver number 1 for next year. Samaj Morgan, the gadget guy that I think will probably hit some big plays. And then we'll see who that big body guy is when we get there. So we don't really have the size
would have been
of
Clemens,
a running back.
But yeah.
Probably Frederick Moore. He's like 6'2", I think. So he might be that bigger receiver to have that presence. So we'll see. I would imagine that it's probably going to be very similar to what we did on offense. But it sounds like the reports coming out of spring ball right now are that Alex Orji is leading the pack at quarterback. So I think we all kind of expected that, but sounds like he's doing pretty decent. I'm going to be excited to watch the spring game and see how he throws the football. I know that he is athletic as hell. Yeah. I know that he can run the football because that's what he's done. But let's see how he can actually run an offense. Let's see if he can have a seat. So he gets compared to Jalen Milroe, right? Alabama's quarterback, who our defensive line destroyed. Which we'll get to the defensive line here in a second, but he gets compared to that. So let's see if he can actually perform like that, throwing the football as well as being the quarterback that's athletic and can run the football.
I mean, if we have issues, it's our bread and butter too. I mean, we're going to stick with the running game. You have a brick shithouse of a quarterback in Alex Orji. So you're going to run him. That's all you did would the last couple of seasons on certain plays, and then against Bama, the Rose Bowl as well too. But our running back room is just stacked. So if we still have somewhat of a good offensive line culture, I know we're losing 6 guys here. Like Derek is saying, we're putting the whole offense. We're drafting the whole offense here. But if we can get that running game going, we're going to be stacked. And with Tony Alford as well too coming, I mean, we might see that decommit from Ohio State. But if he doesn't come, I mean, we're more than fine at the running back position. More than fine. I mean, we are deep. That's probably our deepest position group coming into this season for sure.
Yeah. And offensively too, I think there's a lot of question marks about what's our offensive line going to look like. And I think it's going to be better than people expect. I think because our offensive line has been so good, and we're putting potentially six offensive linemen into the draft, right? We might have there's 5 offensive linemen that typically start unless we go with a heavy set, right? Yeah. And we have potentially 6 that are going to get drafted off of last year's team. So that tells you how good that's how good the offensive line was. But it sounds like Miles Hinton is kind of the foundation right now, the anchor of the offensive line at left tackle. Josh Preby, the transfer from Northwestern, has commented on how physical the style of Michigan football is and how physical their practices are. He's going to be a solid guard. Greg Crippen is a guy that he's done his time. He's waited his turn, and now I think he's ready to be the next really good Michigan center. And then you're looking at Giovanni El Hadi probably as the other starting guard, who's got a lot of starting reps stepping in for people the last couple of years when they've been dinged off. And then when we look to our right tackle, two guys that have had a lot of potential, but just maybe when you're sitting behind 10 deep of potential starting offensive linemen, you might not necessarily get your turn, and now it's their turn, and that's Andrew Gentry and Tristan Bounds. Both of those guys, I think,
Tristan Bounds
could be good starting offensive linemen. So I know it's none of those guys have started at Michigan. Well, consistently, right? Giovanni El Hadi's gotten some starts. Miles Hinton's gotten some starts. So that's where the question mark comes from. I think we'll be okay there. And don't forget Bredesen. Don't forget Max Bredesen is probably the best run blocking tight end that college football is going to have next year.
Yep.
That guy is a beast when it comes to blocking from the tight end position. So I think we'll be fine.
It's the number, but he almost looks like a fullback sometimes too.
He is, yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the role that he plays. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we've got going on offensively. Defensively, so it sounds like defense is dominating spring ball, and that makes sense because we're bringing a lot back. So it sucks that we lost Keon Sabb to the transfer portal. Absolutely heartbroken for Rod Moore to tear his ACL.
Yeah.
I hope so bad that recovery goes well and that he's able to get back on the field before the end of next season. And if we can make a playoff run again next year with the 12-team playoff format, he might be able to get some action if he gets a good recovery. So those ones stink, but we've got Will Johnson, right, who's a lockdown corner, and it sounds like DJ Waller is the guy that's standing out on the other side. From him, it sounds like he's having a really good spring and earning himself that starting corner position with Jade McBurrows playing well in the slot in the Mikey Sainristil role. So where there's some question marks in the secondary, there's some good things from what we're hearing. Now, hopefully that doesn't mean there's not good things on the receiver side of the ball, right? Because those two things could go hand in hand. Our linebackers, Ernest Hausman and Jayshon Barnum, right? I think that's going to be a solid linebacker duo. And our defensive line is for sure going to be the best defensive line in college football. You got Derek Moore, Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, all coming back. Josiah Stewart,
edge
all
rushers,
coming back.
Yep.
Right? So the defensive line that won the game against Alabama is coming back. The guys that were on the field that won the game against Alabama, they're all coming back. So our defensive line is going to be nasty, and there's some guys coming behind them that I would expect to step up. Our D line has been next man up for years. So there's always been the next person that steps up, and that D line rotation is going to be solid. So the thing that just sucks about defense is your heart breaks for Rod Moore. You got Makari Page back there.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be okay back there. I mean, Rod Moore missed a lot of last season too to injury, but that's one of those things too where there's a lot of debate from fans about players that could have come back and maybe improved their draft stock. And then when you see things like this happen, you look at Rod Moore and you say, man, he probably could have gone. And maybe a senior year could have helped him, but now he's not getting a senior year. Right. So that's one of those things that makes you look at it from the other perspective of, all right, it makes sense why maybe some of these guys look at, sure, I could maybe improve my stock by one round, but what if I get hurt?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm excited for the spring game. I'm excited to see our offense. I know our defense is going to be solid. I'm excited to see our offense. So I want to see what the starting lineups potentially look like. I know that the spring game's not going to give us that because it's going to be two teams that are drafted, so it's going to be a mix of starters on both sides of the ball. But I'm excited to see the offensive line, and I'm excited to see the receivers. I'm excited to see the running back potential depth chart behind Donovan Edwards. Excited to see Khalil Mullins and Ben Hall, right? And excited to see Cole Cabana. Excited to see what these guys look like this spring.
And Marshall too, Mr. Ohio or for football, state of Ohio. Freshman coming in. So, I mean, I'm sure he'll be redshirted, but I mean, he's going to be an absolute beast. So, yeah. We got some good ones. Right. We got a friggin' solid running back room next year. It's just, interested more about the receivers. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. Another question: where's JJ going? Heard some teams want to move up to grab him. Is this true? You think? I do think that it's true. I think that JJ is going to go high. I think that we're going to see a lot of teams trying to move to get some of these quarterbacks. You might not believe it if you follow social media and see some of the stuff that Michigan State fans or Ohio State fans put out there. But I think JJ McCarthy translates better to the NFL than a lot of the quarterbacks in this draft. You know that Jim Harbaugh has always run a pro style concept type system. And that bodes well for a quarterback. JJ is the first one that has this type of talent that Harbaugh, he's the only one with this type of talent that Harbaugh's ever coached at Michigan. And so I don't know. I think that the fact that he won so much, the fact that he won on a team of players that had to play together versus a team that was full of 4 or 5-star guys, that goes a long way. He had to play the position. He had to read defenses. He had to make plays. You saw his athleticism
too. I mean, solid record. I know different levels, but the guy wins. And he's all about the team as well, too. He's all about building that culture around him. But I don't know. Who do you think grabs him, though? It's a lot of interest, so.
Right, there is. The most popular opinion out there of the draft experts is Minnesota trading up to get him. Which I think that would be that would be a good fit for him. Because the thing that I want to see, because I want to see him succeed, the thing that I don't want to see is him go to some crappy team with no offensive line and no talent and get thrown into a bad situation.
They're going to expect him to play right away, and the Vikings maybe will too eventually. But I know the Giants have interest, the Commanders have interest. Sean Payton was really high on him as well too. But the thing about Denver is they have no leeway at all. Since Russell Wilson, they have really no leeway at all to move up. But I mean, I really don't want to see him go to the Giants or the Commanders. I mean, more power to him if he wants to, but I mean, I'd drop a brick if he went to the Bears somehow. I know it's not going to happen. But that'd be cool to see him in Chicago. But I see the Vikings. I think that would be, if I had to do a mock draft right now, it would be the Vikings grabbing him, moving up to grab him. But we'll see.
Yeah, same. And that's a good situation. So he would have decent talent around him, right? Justin Jefferson, one of the best wide receivers.
Addison,
TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
So he would have weapons.
Aaron Jones as well too. Yeah, I mean, he would have a pretty solid offense to work around.
But here's the thing: is that they so Sam Darnold went to Minnesota. So Sam Darnold can start the majority of a year or an entire year while JJ catches up. And if you think of how beneficial it was, and I know that this was controversial and divisive among Michigan fans, but think of how beneficial it was for JJ that he didn't have to be the starting quarterback as a true freshman. But he still got to prepare like a starting quarterback, and he still got reps. But he did not have to be the starting quarterback. And then come his sophomore year, there was no keeping him off the field. But he got that 1 year to get his body ready to play against that level of competition. He had that 1 year to catch up to the speed of the game. He had that 1 year to learn how to prep like a champion quarterback at that level. That goes a long way. And that's why you see, in my opinion, quarterbacks is the position that is missed the most by teams when they try to draft top quarterbacks. That's where the biggest busts come, because people spend the highest draft capital on them, and they're building their team, in my opinion, the wrong way. They're building their team
Start with the
from
offensive line.
the quarterback, not the offensive line.
Yes. Right? And you've seen teams take restart. They just drafted a quarterback. You got to start with the offensive line, in my opinion. Got to start there. But yeah, they have it the wrong way. Unless you draft a quarterback at a certain round or later in the first round where you think you can develop a guy as well too. Get some other key position role players first, but I think JJ, even though I'm a Packer fan and Bucks as well too, but I think JJ to the Vikings makes more sense to me. Makes a lot more sense. I could say May and Daniels going before. They probably shouldn't, but let's see what happens.
My one, I have a couple wishes coming in, and maybe if we're able to do another podcast before the draft, maybe we can talk about this a little bit more and spend some more time on the draft. But a couple wishes that I have is, as a 49ers fan, there's a couple guys that I would really like to see in San Francisco. They need a guard. They need a little bit of help on the offensive line. Love to see Zach Zinter end up in San Francisco or Trevor.
No, I think Zinter is going to Green Bay, or Keegan could go to Green Bay as well too. I think Zinter goes to Green Bay. It's on my back. You guys have enough Michigan players. I know you can't. I know Andy Reid said a few seasons back that you can't have enough Michigan players. But the Niners you guys got enough Michigan guys. We need some more Green Bay here.
So I would love to see a couple of those guys end up in San Francisco. I think I will not be surprised at all if Blake Corum gets drafted much earlier than people think he is going to get drafted, and if it's by the Chargers.
Ravens or Chargers. But I mean, Ravens, yeah, and they kind of, they're kind of sitting well right now. I don't think I could see Chargers though.
And there's two NFL teams that I just have a hard time getting behind, and I support Michigan players when they go there, but it's tougher than usual, and that's the Cowboys and the Seahawks. So my other with this many guys potentially getting drafted, I just hope that Dallas and Seattle stay away.
You know, Mike McDowell's going to be going after.
I know.
You know he's going to be going after some players.
I know, and I guess
I like Stanishow to the Lions or Colson to the Lions as well too.
Yeah,
I'll take all these guys to Green Bay, but I just know it's like.
And you know what? Another thing that I guess now that I'm on my NFL draft wish list, I hope so badly that Mike Barrett gets drafted. Like Mike Barrett was one of my favorite Michigan players of all time, because when everyone else was leaving, when everyone else in the sport was leaving, when there was coaching changes and when they weren't getting the starting job, he stuck around and he stayed and he developed and he turned into a team leader, and he turned into a hell of a linebacker from somebody that was recruited as a quarterback in high school, recruited to play the Viper position in Don Brown's defense, to develop into
after Don Brown left. I was so nervous he was going to go. So happy he stayed.
Same. And I hope so bad that we hear his name called in a couple of weeks, and that he ends up on an NFL roster. And
I think we're going to get.
I'm just pulling for him.
Me too. I think we're going to get all 18. I think we're going to set a record here. We're going to beat Texas. What was it, 1977 or whatever? They had the overall. Outside the 7-round draft era, they had the most at 17. So I think we're going to get 18. I think we're going to set a record. But yeah, I hope all of them for sure. But I hope they go to the right place, because that always plays a key thing right there. But Jenkins too. I know we're going to hop off here a little bit. Where do you think Chris Jenkins is going to go?
I think he's probably going to go. He's probably going to go second or third round. And you know what? I'm going to be selfish here. I want him to go to the Niners. The Niners got rid of
Niners, dude. Whatever.
They got rid of Eric. They got rid of Eric Armstead. They got rid of somebody that they don't have Chase Young. So yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they drafted a defensive tackle. So if they're going to draft one, let it be Chris Jenkins. Or if they wait another year, then maybe let it be Kenneth Grant or Mason Graham.
I'd love to have both those guys on either Tampa Bay or Green Bay. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, both those guys are ready now. You know,
they are absolutely.
If they were in the right class, I mean, they were ready now. Graham and Grant. So, but we need that. We need that Grant 99-yard rushing touchdown yet. Yeah, hopefully, we're going to see that this season.
Right, we didn't get to see an offensive lineman touchdown last year, so
yeah, we get to see Zach score a touchdown. But I think Tiff was saying right too. Like I think he had one in high school, right? I think she was telling us he had one nice. I thought she said that. So we'll have to get her on and ask her again. But
we will.
We'll see.
We will
see.
But thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks for joining us as we talk through the slowish time of year here in the off season, coming off of a slow basketball season and a reminder national championship winning football season, and hopefully
hockey.
National championship winning hockey season. So
third time's a charm, people. We got this.
Absolutely. Tune in, continue to follow along as we continue to bring you some content here through the off season. Stay tuned. Hopefully we're going to be able to pull some guests on in the coming weeks and coming months to join us and talk about some things, maybe some parents potentially, maybe talk Michigan NIL here one of these weeks and get a better look at what's truly going on with Michigan NIL and how all of us can contribute. So stay tuned, continue to follow along. Thank you for your support. Go Blue.
Go Blue. See you in Detroit for the draft.